Today we're talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 because this thing continues to get into so much drama. But today, Nintendo has officially replied to the backlash. But their response, it's honestly kind of pathetic.
Oh, yeah, just like the same person that picked one up even though he talked poorly about it for the past 2 months, and you want us to believe you in what you're saying?
Of all the issues with the Nintendo Switch 2, the bad emulation, the lack of good launch games, the poor quality screen,
But yet you still have one in your hands. What I find so funny about this is the fact that you content creators, or should I say influencers, want to act upset about things, but yet you guys go out there and continue to buy said product. And then you cry and complain when things get worse and things don't get any better, even though this is exactly what you guys are putting your money into. You have to ask yourself, man. I understand that, I'm an influencer. I have to do it. I'm a gaming reviewer. No, you're just an quote-unquote average day content creator because nobody knows you, bro. Stop acting like y'all some celebrities. Oh, everyone knows me. I'm like LeBron James in these YouTube. Bro, you're a nobody, okay? You're just a person that makes videos from your household sitting on your gaming chair. That's it. You're not that important.
A lot of issues with it, but one of the things I think people have been the most vocal about, something that Nintendo felt the need to reply to.
Oh yeah, if only you guys was vocal and not buying the damn thing. Now Nintendo don't care. Well, hey, you still got it in your hands anyway. Matter of fact, you still picked up a few game key cards. Why should we care? What should we care about our audience and how they feel, considering that they're giving us money, even though they continue to complain about the products that we keep coming out with?
Is the game card key issue, which is that historically, when you buy a Nintendo Switch 1 game or a Nintendo Switch 2 game, it would be physical, future-proof product. Now, the problem has been that with the Nintendo Switch 2, 70% of the entire library is not real. It's fake. None of them make sense.
It is a physical game cartridge. It just doesn't have the data on it. It is physical. You can clearly feel it in your hands. There's just no data on the cartridge. Now, mind you, you guys want to sit there and complain, well, this is bad for gaming, but yet Microsoft, PlayStation, and even games on Steam have the same exact DRM properties. But I find it so funny that you guys want to blame one company over the other. They're all bad. At the end of the day, you really think that these companies care about ownership to your own video games? Come on, man. You have to ask yourself, these companies don't care about you.
Something is a game card key for Switch 2, it's met with immediate backlash because a lot of games now are in the spot where stuff that's upcoming, Little Nightmares 3, I like Little Nightmares 1.
Now, guess what? It doesn't matter because even if you own the physical copy of this game and Little Nightmares 3 is on the disc, well, guess what? It's bottlenecked due to the fact that the PlayStation 5 disk drive needs to be synchronized online. So regardless, it's still DRM. You're going to have a bunch of physical games and you won't be able to access them. If your disk drive goes out. And you can't sit there, I'll just replace it. Well, you're not looking at the fact that, let's say Sony's not here in the next 20 to 30 years. You think Sony's going to continue to support your disk drive online? At this point, you're looking no different than a PSP Go situation. Y'all remember those games that you downloaded for the PSP Go? You can't re-download those games anymore, can you? Exactly. That's exactly what your PS5 is.
One question mentioned, they often hear third-party games do not sell well on Nintendo hardware and expressed concerns about game key cards, calling them a half-baked solution and not very appealing. They asked whether the game key card, basically saying these games are just too damn big. Again,
yeah, they are. If you take in consideration, for example, Sonic Shadow Generations, I'm assuming to be 32 gigabytes. I would assume Yakuza's about 32 gigabytes, and this is about 64 gigabytes. Now, you have to ask yourself, are you guys more willing enough to pay more for physical cartridge of games than its digital counterpart? Now, mind you, I would agree with that. If you want to go the extra mile, then maybe Nintendo should work with Limited Run to make that possible. Because that's the only way it's going to happen. Because if you give third party all the power to do that, they're going to just choose the game key card selection. You get what I'm saying? Why wouldn't they? It's the cheapest option for them to manufacture. Of course they're going to go with that.
this is definitely provably a lie. Now, the way this worked is that on the original Nintendo Switch, something they did that was undeniably a very smart move is that there were different sizes of carts, and they would cost a different amount of money. So,
see, now the problem is, regardless of that, Street Fighter 6 could have fit in a 64 gigabyte cartridge, no different than Cyberpunk. But Capcom chose not to because guess what? They don't care if you physically own the game or not. They went with the cheapest option that they can continue to mass produce. You see, the problem is you guys don't want to blame Nintendo, but Nintendo's also responsible for why these games are coming out like this because they said, hey, we don't care if our games are, we care if our games are on a cartridge. They essentially did an N64. When they made the Switch 2 in mind, they did not care about how third party was going to be able to continue to put games on it. Which only means that Nintendo will be going digital just like everybody else. We're going to be in a digital age future before you know it.
Let's hear what I held up here. Grandia 2 collection. This is not a very, very big cart. It's actually a pretty tiny cart. So
yes, because it's from Dreamcast games that came out, 25 years ago? How are you going to compare Grandia to a game like Street Fighter 6, which is I think 50 gigabytes to at least download? Not including the DLC, Yakuza 0, which is about 32, and I'm assuming Sonic Shadow Generations with the updated textures and resolution boosts and frame rate options, that it will be more assets that they would have to use. What makes you think? How are you comparing Grandia to the games that they're showing here? That makes absolutely no sense. Grandia is a much more smaller game in sense because that game came out, 25 years ago?
You could get a 12 gig, a 36 gig, a 64 gig. And basically, that made it where your company could specifically order the cart that was the correct size.
But it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, they still have... What do you guys don't understand? They still have to pay the manufacturing fees of the cartridge. This is why I went as far to tell you, Dreamcast guy, if that's what you people want, well then guess what? That means the cartridges would have to go up. You will have to take the loss in regards to the manufacturing fees that these companies are doing. Does that make sense? But we already know you ain't going to do that. I mean, I can see you guys not paying $90 for Street Fighter 6 just to compensate the fact that I had to use let's say, a $17 cartridge. They're not going to do that, especially with the used gaming market, which they also use digital sales to drop the sales of their physical versions. Yeah, third party is most definitely not doing that.
Cheaper to produce, basically, instead of always buying the biggest, heftiest cartridge for the highest price.
Well, that's exactly what you have to do for these type of games that you're seeing here. Yakuza 0, 32 gigabyte cartridge, and Street Fighter 6 needs to be on a 64 gigabyte cartridge, which also costs way more than the cartridge that Grandia 2 shipped on, or should I say the Grandia collection.
You could buy the exact one to fit your needs, whereas with the Switch 2, there's one cart size, and it's pretty damn big, but basically they're saying, if we're afraid it's not going to fit, we don't even try to get it to work. We just go, oh man, this is a really big HD game. Nintendo Switch 2 graphics are way better than Nintendo Switch 1 graphics. We're not even going to bother trying to put it on the cart. And a lot of people, from what I saw in their replies, game cart keys, they're installing on this. So it's okay, so either...
So it kind of beats the purpose, guys. I mean, you have to ask yourself, what is really the point of a game key card? You can lose it, and it's digital. Anyway, you might as well just download the digital version regardless. You know what I mean? But the problem is, I mean, if you look no further than Nintendo with the Wii and the Wii U and how they shut down eShops, do you really want to spend all your money through Nintendo? You have to ask yourself. Nintendo is not very good at carrying a lot of their older products. I mean, look no further than the Wii, the DS, the 3DS, where you can't even go back and even replay some of the same games that you purchased on those platforms. So this is why people tell you, and I get the whole philosophy that digital's no good and all this. I understand that. But you guys have to take in consideration that as time goes on and games become bigger, less and less you're going to see these games on the physical disc or cartridge.
My storage is always going to be full because I'm never going to be able to just pop in a key and play it. Or I have to pay a lot more to get a premium actual physical game. Now, or
even more for a memory card that can hold the same games that you paid for the game keycards. I mean, it is what it is, bro. They gave you 256 gigabytes of space, and I mean, you guys are really demanding Red Dead Redemption, GTA 5. Those games are like 100 gigabyte file sized games. Okay, your Switch is filled up, bro. Like, I know people with the Series S with 500 gigabytes, and they go as far to tell you that that's not enough. They download one Call of Duty Black Ops 6, that's 200 gigabytes right off the bat. Then they only have options to put a little few other downloaded games. That's a problem. And most casuals are not going to. I think this is a conversation that nobody really talks about, but nobody's going to be deleting their favorite go play games in favor for something that they might want to try out. Oh, let me delete Fortnite so I can play, this game that I normally wouldn't even play, and it's like 100 gigabytes. Matter of fact, I heard companies purposely make the file sizes bigger so people are less likely to delete them, which only means they end up playing the games more, man. Like, you feel me? I mean, clearly, because, I mean, they could compress some of these file sizes, but what does that benefit for you guys? You get what I'm saying? They don't care. They're like, no, we want these games. We want these games in the forefront. Because if you guys can just delete them and put them back when you want, well, guess what? That means that's less time of you playing it. Especially if the game has battle passes.
Even talking about it publicly, they know this is a problem. But I also feel like it's to me, it's so disrespectful to their specific fan base. Like,
Okay.
I know some physical PS5 collectors, but not a lot. Whereas I know multiple people with massive Nintendo Switch collections. Specifically, there are people that say, yeah, I'll buy something digitally on sale on my PlayStation 5 or on Steam because I want to play it with good graphics, but something for my shelf, so to nearly half that high. If this doesn't change, I think they're about to get a bunch more dire soon.
I don't think Nintendo cares. I really don't think Nintendo cares, man. They've taken the stance of the N64. It's called either get in or get out. I think Nintendo's really feeling themselves. I mean, a lot of their exclusive games were selling within the 70, 80 millions. Now they feeling themselves. Nintendo thinking we back in the game. But I'm going to sit there and tell you, Nintendo, don't let it get to your head. You might have a Wii U situation. Yeah, it sold well at launch, but we don't know how much it'll sell going forward. We don't know by the end of next year or the start of GTA 6 if the Switch 2 sales will start declining. You guys don't know that. You guys are just running with these narratives because the Switch 1 sold well. But you got to remember, the Switch 1 had no competition. The Switch 1 came out at a time where there was really no gaming portable. I mean, you got so many different ways to play in gaming now in comparison to how it was when it came out. People might not even want to switch to it. On top of that, the Switch 1 and the 2 are very similar in regards to the buttons. I know the features, but it's just a much more refined Switch. What I'm saying to you is that the way the Switch 2 comes off more like a Wii going to a Wii U for some people, especially the casual audience. They're not going to see but we got Mario Kart, what we got? They're going to look at it, poor little Timmy's going to look at it and say, whoa, it's a Switch 1, but it feels like a Switch 2. I'm not missing out much. I can still buy the same games here, like Metroid Prime and Pokemon Legends. I don't need to upgrade to a Switch 2 immediately. And this might end up becoming a problem for Nintendo, regardless of what type of exclusives they out here showing you. And this is what you guys are not taking into consideration.
I think Nintendo has put themselves in a strange position where clearly the idea of the Nintendo Switch 2 is to just maximize profit, in my opinion, in the
I think that's every company, but yeah.
Easiest way possible. Not that I'm saying it's the worst device, but I mean the fact that this is the least creative Nintendo thing ever. It is a straight upgrade. It's got bigger Joy-Cons, bigger screen, better graphics, right?
Sounds like the PS5 Pro.
That's it. It's nothing creative, nothing super changing the wheel. They're just straight up trying to do it. And in their effort to do the safest, normalest, most profitable thing, I think that's also
I think real gamers, we're starting to see through the rules. I think real gamers are like, yo, we just getting our hustle on. We're just trying to figure out how they go on. And we're not jumping into the FOMO. You know what I'm saying? Only the ones that think that Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony cares about them is the ones still jumping into this FOMO. I got over that a long time ago. I haven't honestly been excited for a game in probably about 10 years plus. I'm going to be honest. I'm not saying I haven't enjoyed games. I enjoyed Valve. I enjoyed South of Midnight. I'm more likely going to enjoy Ninja Gaiden 4. But the days of where my jaw drops and I'm like, oh my. You know, the days of seeing Gears of War running on the 360. The days of seeing Heavenly Sword and all the soldiers running at me. Those days is over. I'm sorry, man. There's really no evolution going here. And especially if these companies talk about doing AA games in favor of AAA, well, guess what? That means the envelope is not being pushed anymore. Remember the days with the Genesis try to pull up more parallax scrolling and try to do 3D effects and everything with the Super FX, and they try to take the most of what the hardware was capable of doing. Well, guess what? All these companies are doing is pushing the same games and giving them performance updates and patches. That's all they're doing. If anything, consoles have become the PC. And if you guys notice, it's been pretty boring. Have you noticed that? Ever since consoles adapted the PC mindset of how they go about gaming, it's been pretty boring. Because most PC gamers, they'll play Counter-Strike for over 20 years and they still playing it. Okay? That's just how PC gaming is, but it wasn't like that for consoles. As soon as consoles took that PC mindset, I knew that gaming as a whole was going to be terrible. And I'm not trying to knock PC gamers. I mean, it's respectable that you guys still continue to support your old games, but yet it leaves for room for evolution. Do you get what I mean? Companies will have to sit back and look at it like, let's try to be the next greatest and best thing. Because the problem is, another thing with that is that if you do, you have the potential rate of going bankrupt just by trying to be the innovator, just from trying to be unique and new. Regardless if you try to make the best game. This is why Phil Spencer told you, it don't matter what game we make. There's so much truth to that. Which y'all don't. It doesn't matter. Microsoft can make whoever can make the greatest game in the world, and it still won't do better than Fortnite and GTA 6. You people know that at the bottom of your heart, and that's why I try to tell you that real gaming, for a lot of us core gamers that have been gaming for 30 years plus, it will never be the same no more. This is why you keep complaining about this nonsense. Game key card digital. Things ain't physical no more. Well, guess what, Dream? Those days is over.
Happening with these game key cards. We're not going to bother developing multiple tiers of game card. We're not going to bother with all that stuff. We're just going to say, buy a digital or buy a physical. But how do you feel about the Nintendo Switch 2 game key card?
Well, it is what it is, and it's going to continue to start happening. So you guys might as well just give it up already and start accepting the digital-only future. Start accepting live services subscriptions, because that's the only direction where gaming is going. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, matter of fact, let's touch up on this real quick just so you guys know as to what's really going on here real quick. Now, mind you, I tried to jump again and have this debate. I actually was finishing Squid Games. I was like, oh, I have some time. Let me jump on. And the same exact thing happened. I'm sorry, guys. I really did try to get this going. I'm officially done with it. Honestly. You know what I mean? I didn't waste that much time. I even made the Discord. I even called it Porter Roach, but I'm probably going to just delete it anyway. I'm done. I'll take a screenshot, post it, and you know that I actually did it, and then I'm done with this, bro. Like, it's crazy how you still have me blocked. Like, if you really wanted me on this, you would have had me unblocked, bro. You know what I'm saying? But we ain't going to touch up on this too long. I just wanted to bring it up to your attention. If you guys have any more concerns, just make sure you check out the YouTube shorts. Take care, everybody. Peace out, man. And like I said, man, God bless everyone.